Fast. It's time now to know what's on the front pages of the Nigerian newspapers. And with me in the studio, journalists Ife Onyegbule and Dari Odufo. Gentlemen of the press, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
TVC Breakfast. All right, let's head straight to the papers now, and I begin with Business Day. Federal government SIM registration drive risks dealing weak economy, another blow. Could cripple resilient telecom sector. 24.3 million subscribers may be affected. To set off mass hysteria posing grave risks in a pandemic. Exposes government's incompetence at data management. Lawmakers direct NCC to extend registration deadline to 10 weeks. And to the front page of the Nigerian News Direct now. Buhari orders reopening of 4 land borders, others December 30. Nasima, LCCI charge customs to intensify border policing. Jubilation in Seme. We'll be looking at that story shortly. And then we move to the front page of the Blueprint now. Nigerians excited as Buhari reopens borders. Small arms importation, fuel smuggling reduced. FEC. Opening of borders will crush prices of food items, boost revenue. Waleke, a catalyst for rice farmers to mechanize for improved yield. Akinwumi. On the front page of the Daily Trust now, rice poultry importation remains banned as federal government reopens 4 borders. Decision long overdue, experts. Lagos Chamber man call for effective policing. Jubilation at Seme. Maigatari Ilela, consider us too. Jibia Gongolam residents speaking there. And to the front page of the Daily Times now, how to assess a leader by Jonathan. Border reopening, Buhari orders immediate reopening of borders, orders by December 31st. To the leadership newspaper now, expert lists gains as federal government reopens land borders. Sam Nda Issa, 1962 to 2020, media chief, burial for December the 28th. That's still eulogizing the person of Sam Nda, Isaiah rather, who died recently. And we move quickly to the front page of the Daily Independent. Though late, border reopening will make us competitive. Experts are speaking there. To the front page of the Daily Sun now. Ahead of Christmas, federal government reopens land borders. MAN, LCCI, freight forwarders experts hail move. To the front page of the Nation newspaper. Military to rescue abducted pupils. Whichever way, Governor, we are negotiating with through Miyetti Allah. Inspector General Police deploys special squad. And on the front page of the Punch newspaper, reopening of 4 borders, LCCI experts raise smuggling alert as federal government retains rice ban. Other land borders to be reopened on or before December the 31st, says Minister. Government failed. Closure didn't stop smuggling. Abuja Chamber of Commerce. Inconsistent government policies jeopardizing investment, says DG NACC. And on the front page of the Vanguard now, Katsina abduction, kidnappers in talks through Miyetti Allah Matsari. Boko Haram use local gangs to kidnap students. Sources will be in Kankara school until our children return home. Parents. Federal government hasn't learned from previous kidnaps. A coalition of northern groups moves to Katsina. No sleep until students are rescued. That's the last paper we'll be reviewing this morning. But then let's quickly begin with the story on the reopening of 4 land borders, which is on the front page of almost all the papers this morning. Some are saying that it is coming late, but some will say better late than never. And others are saying that there's also the smuggling alert, which we have to also be careful for. But then, let me begin with you, Ife Onyegbule. The reopening of borders, are you excited?
Excited is actually an understatement, as it is, because I personally know persons who have suffered from the closure of the borders. And of course, when that news broke, I got a call and they're like, yay, our businesses are back, and as it is. But I think as a country, we need to begin to look at what it is. Are there lessons learned? What did we learn from the closure of the borders? You just talked about rice to still remain, banned as it is. But when the borders were closed, people were still smuggling in rice. So how do you expect that it's going to still remain banned, in quote now, with the reopening of this border? So that's what we need to look at. We should also think about the advantages or the disadvantages, the merits or the demerits of, shutting the borders for. I had to ask Larry this morning. I said, are you kidding me? It's been closed for 16 months. How did we survive, for crying out loud? So those are the things that we truly need to look at and, get better with the things that were positive for us with the closure of the borders. But as I said to you, I'm just hoping that with the way things are now, there's so much suffering in the land. I'm hoping that we're not going back to square one, what it used to be before the borders were actually shut.
Hoping that we do not return to what it used to be. Do you think we have learnt our lessons and we won't be returning to what it used to be, Daddy?
Yeah, thank you. First, I'd like to congratulate you.
Okay.
It appears our president is a listening president.
Okay.
And in listening to her, he has been on this issue of the borders must be open.
Okay.
And then she has cited so many examples. I'm sure President Buhari was like, I have to listen to this. So congratulations. Be that as it may, I think, for me, the idea of closing the border when it was done was a welcome development. And up to now, I still feel we did what we had to do. And if the government feels, we got what we intended to get. Maybe.
If the government feels.
Because if you ask me, I would say it is only after, now that we have opened the border, I'll wait for some time to see the attitudinal changes that will follow, especially on the part of Nigerians, not the government now. The borders have been thrown open. We survived without the importation of certain things for 16 months. We improvised.
But we must state that it was a struggle.
But we improvised. We didn't die during the struggle. A lot of new businesses, startups, were created as a result of the closure. Now, if we throw all that away and go back to the ways we were doing things, then we have gained nothing. But if we see that, without this, or with little of this, we didn't have to put all our foreign exchange on this. I tell you, before the closure of the border, I attended a program where the table water used were imported. Those are things we wasted foreign exchanges on. If we avoid such things, toothpicks, tissue paper, and the like, you see the names of the country is coming from. If we stick to the way we managed in the last 16 months, the gains will stay with us. But if we don't, it will simply mean that we've wasted 16 months, we've suffered for nothing, and we're back to our ways. Because Nigerians and Nigeria, we are a people that enjoys shortcuts. The issue of rice is still banned. Well, I hope it will remain banned. Because even while the border were closed, people take so much risk, financially and physically, to bring in rice. So government go beyond just banning it by the words of mouth, put structures in place. My fear is this. I am not too comfortable with the timing of the reopening. The reopening is good. Really? Because it has to be opened. But this time we should have delayed till, say, January. And I'll tell you my reason. I am not a trader. But I know from the little commerce and economics I did in school that a lot of traders, business people already stocked their shops, already made provision for the stocking of local goods, contrary to the foreign ones, ahead of this festivity. Now the price will crash. Some people will suffer. Make losses. Because so the same set of local business people that we closed the border for, we didn't consider them in opening this border. Because already, few days to Christmas, few days to New Year, they already decided that it is local rice, that it is local fabrics, it is local palm oil, it is local this that are allowed, that people are going to buy. And they stopped. Now you suddenly flung open the borders. And so how are they going to cope? So I am not a businessman, like I rightly said. And if he is the woman here, she knows the market.
She seems to differ.
So, but that's the way I see it.
That's how I see it. But I'd like to take Dari on. He just talked about us not going back. Yes. But you know what kind of country that we're in. I
was going to ask.
When you talk about something learning lessons, or Nigerians following due process, let's put it at that. It doesn't work. Look at the issue of one way. You still see a police van or a truck or something going on that one-way traffic, and people will have to follow behind. Remember, at some point, Okada riders were off the roads. What are they doing on the roads now as we speak? So for us is you move one step forward, you move another 10 backwards, and it just doesn't make any sense. As per this idea of rice and all that, saying that some people were not put into consideration, did you consider some people before you shut the borders? It didn't happen. Now they've opened the borders. It's going to be an open market. Go do your business. For me, I'm thinking the things you talked about. You talked about toothpicks. You talked about water. Is it possible for us to see the stock in the villa? What kind of water do they take right there in the villa?
Now that's a big question.
You had a minister who said to us that we're going to be producing pencils. Tell me, has that ever happened? So we need to always tackle the issues.
You mean we don't produce pencils in Nigeria?
Ask me.
That's the big question. But again, what they are also talking about is that farmers should step up at this time, because a lot of persons couldn't afford the local rice. It was quite expensive, and that is what is also fueling this
idea of let's open the border. You see, if we are going to ask farmers to step up, within the last 16 months, I will say it again. I give a lot of credit to the federal government and some state governments. Inputs into agriculture, especially rice farming, were fantastic. Some state government and the federal government, Bank of Industry and other facilities like that. Are we sure we will continue with this?
That's the big question.
Will it not be, the borders are open, Nigerians are seeing rice to buy already, why should we bother?
Where's the rice?
I tell you, either you ban it on paper or on television.
People will find their way.
People will find their way of bringing in rice, and it will bring down the price. And once that happens, it is just like what you say, our ability to be consistent.
That's it.
With the government still say, notwithstanding the availability of foreign rice, we still need to grow our local rice.
But local rice is expensive.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
if you don't put money, if you don't help with mechanized farming, if you don't help with the process of making it cleaner, if the farmer still has to engage a lot of manual labor,
then it will be expensive.
What one or two machines will do, then it will remain expensive. If the roads, our roads, are still as bad as they are, and the farmer will have to bring it to town using the kind of fund he will have used to do the next season's farming, then it will remain expensive.
All right, now, so many reasons why it is expensive, but I want us to look at this issue now, which is on the front page of the Nation's newspaper, talking about the military saying that they will rescue the abducted pupils whichever way. It is said that from the reports we are getting that they already know where the boys are located, and that they are going to get them now anyway. The governor has said that they are in talks with the bandits that are the abductors, according to him, because they are saying that on the front page now that they are negotiating through Miyetti Allah. But Boko Haram is saying that they are the ones that, this counterclaim and all of that back and forth. But then whichever way we rescue the boys, the military is saying that. I wonder what you're expecting to see, Ify.
I'm so disappointed. I wish I could, let me not talk about the word faint. How can you tell me you're talking or negotiating through Miyetti Allah? What in the world are we talking? Who does that, for crying out loud? We have security operatives, and you're saying to us that you're mediating, you're negotiating through Miyetti Allah. So what are you trying to say to us? Miyetti Allah is something that is grounded in Nigeria. It's official. Is it enshrined in the Constitution? We need to do the right things, for crying out loud. As I said at some other platform, I think the security operatives should talk less. They need to talk less and do the job. What we need to see are are the boys. Let's just see them that they're back.
Hale and hearty.
How you go about getting them is not something you should come on the pages of newspaper to share and talk about. Parents, I heard you talk about it, that parents say they will stay there, they'll be at that school until their children come back. So I think that's what's more important now, not the people you're negotiating with or the people you're talking to or telling us why you might not be able to get the boys back. Let's do the right thing because the world is watching to see how this turns out. Remember, we still have some Chibok girls that are not back yet. Yes, I agree. Some of them said, look, we found husbands. We're not coming back home. But the idea is there are some who are still there with this, what do I want to call them now? This Boko Haram men. Find a way to get these children back. These are people's children. And we need to understand that we have to do the right thing.
We have to do the right thing. Dari, what will that be in your point of view?
For me, I just simply go with that headline.
Whichever way.
Bring back these
The
boys. You see, the idea of whether they will negotiate with even the devil, I don't mind. We've wasted enough.
But isn't that funding terrorism, as some Nigerians
Look,
have said?
we funding terrorism by negotiating, by paying ransom. Yes, the world over, there is this big frown against paying ransom for kidnapped victims. But the world over too, there is this desire, this agitation that when people are kidnapped, we want them back.
There in civilized climes, nobody will negotiate with terrorists.
Well, I know that even the United States do prison swaps with terrorists.
So what are you swapping these kids with? This is not something you can't compare. You can't compare.
The lives of these kids
you cannot compare.
Matters more than whatever policy, whatever principle.
Okay, so what are you swapping the children with?
If you give them money and they will release these boys, I don't care. Bring back these boys. You know the danger in this.
Have you heard the reason they said these boys
listen.
If he hang on to it.
Hold on. You know the danger in this?
What is the danger?
If we slow down,
Right.
these boys, 300 or so of them, get indoctrinated and they become terrorists themselves.
Recruits.
What are we talking about? See, look, I want to repeat it. If you have to give them money, if you have to negotiate with whatever, get these boys. It is not just about they becoming bandits themselves. It is about a whole lot of life, a whole lot of future, a whole lot of dreams perishing because we failed to do what we ought to have done before now. We treated this whole thing with kid's glove. Look at what it has become. Now we want to be principled. It is too late to be principled when a whole lot of future is at stake. These guys have their own dreams. These boys.
It's too late to be principled.
It is too late
this case.
It's too late to be principled on this matter.
All right.
Bring these boys back. Negotiate, fight, shoot. People are saying the military should do what they have to do. You think these bandits are fools? They took them straight to the forest that the Nigerian Air Force have been bombarding since. Now the bombardment had to stop because the boys are there. One of their demands is stop the bombardment. They know what they are doing.
Did you read what
Now we want to talk about not negotiating. Negotiate. I have seen America do something. They will negotiate with you. For you to get your men, give us that terrorist you arrested.
But afterwards, what happened?
They get them back.
That's it.
That's it. Now I want those boys.
Can we do that?
Maybe this is the time to start doing that. Recently, America came in, took some of their men that were kidnapped. Why? Another question I want to ask is, why is the whole world looking at us when they can actually help us? Is there something?
Have you asked for help?
Wait, did we ask for help when America came in to take their own men?
That's their men.
They asked
in our own territory. Our territory.
Did we not assist them?
Thank you. We provided assistance. Please, I think we
have. Have you asked for assistance? Have we asked for that?
The president, the country have been asking for assistance to end the war in the Northeast. I think at least I can tell you that's official. Right. Mr. President, abroad, at home, asked for assistance to end the war in the Northeast. I think beyond what we hear or see, there are some dramas going on behind the scene that is making the international bodies, foreign nations, not assist us as they should.
Really?
Even in the area of procurement of arms, do you know we are finding it difficult as a country? Then you look at the kind of ammunition these Boko Haram people are carrying. Even bandits, you are still calling the people in the northwest bandits. You know what I call them? Another wing of Boko Haram.
All right.
It's just the same.
Now, if you have been waiting to react, please.
He's actually just said it, because I'm just wondering why you would say, talk with them, pay them money. Have they asked you for money?
Yes.
Have they asked you for money?
Meheti Allah said. I actually don't want to talk about this Meheti Allah.
Have they asked you for money?
Now, Meheti Allah said they don't know anything about banditry. They said their men are not kidnappers.
Yeah.
They said they are
So
a lawful organization.
How is it that they are
I don't
involved?
want to say more than that.
All right.
I'm just saying, let us do the right thing. You cannot say you want to pay money. You pay some humongous amount of money. These children are brought back. Tomorrow you take 1,500 will escape. Then you have to pay again to get back the other 500. We need to stop treating this with kid
If you
gloves.
cannot stop them from being kidnapped, bring them back anyhow.
So how are they going to go about that?
Let government stop the kidnapping.
How will the government do that?
Am I the government?
But the primary
not the
purpose of
government.
any government is to secure lives and
Yes,
property.
why are you in government?
So that's
their role.
what we need to begin to press them. We need to continue to press them to do that.
To do
Instead
what?
of saying, go and swap. What are you swapping
The
with
moment
for
you
crying
allow
out loud?
them to be kidnapped, bring them back.
Bring them back,
Then it's
whichever
a
way.
failure. If you ask me, it's a failure of
The
leadership.
fact that they were kidnapped is the first
It's
failure.
a failure of leadership.
Well,
so let's hit the nail on the head.
So allowing the children to die will
they
not be
need
the
to-
success of
no,
leadership.
they need to do their jobs. Find
First.
that way to get the children back.
Whichever way.
Don't fan those embers of saying they've asked for this, you give it to them.
If you have to give it to them, give it to them. Bring those boys back.
Sorry, I won't agree
They
with
have
you
their
on
own
that.
lives to live.
I will not
this
agree
issue-
with
We should
you on
not
that.
allow those boys to
No.
become terrorists because we failed them.
So let the army do its job.
By
And that
engaging
is
in
what they are
guns
saying, that
and
they
in
want to
fighting,
do.
Do the job.
when the boys are
Whichever
there
way.
Do
and
the
they should be
job.
used as cannon for that, no.
Job.
All right.
At this point, I think it is going to be more of intelligence and negotiation than fighting.
Now you're
All
talking.
right.
Intelligence, yes.
Negotiation.
But now your
Negotiation.
negotiation is something
It's
that
a no-no.
it's a no-no for
if
me.
we,
Now,
I am
let me
assuming
ask-
that one of those
let me
boys
ask-
is my son sitting out there.
right.
And all I want now
Let's ask
is
for
my
him to come
son.
back. We are running out of time. Let me quickly
How you do
ask
it is
this
not my
question
business.
because the issue that has been coming up is the Safe Schools initiative that everyone is talking about, and we should return to that, and perhaps that will curb this continuous kidnappings that we've seen reoccur
Thank
in
you.
schools. Is that the way to go? Maybe you'll be
What's
at
our own
agreement with them.
definition of a safe school?
Right.
What's our own definition? You know, in Nigeria, there's always a Nigerian way of doing things. But let's do things and do it right as it is. If we need to begin to homeschool our children, that's fine. For those who
Rethinking
live,
schooling now.
yes, for those who live in that part of the country, we need to begin to think about what it is that we'll do.
Do you know that in the Northwest in the last 2.5 years, banditry had been on the rise? Just like in the last 7-8 years, terrorism, Boko Haram has been on the rise in the Northwest. I am not government, but if I'm in government, one of those things I'll keep considering was just a safe school, especially in those volatile
Areas.
regions. How could you leave boarding schools open?
Who would want to go there? You just talked about a military
But people-
who
those
don't
boys-
have the kind of equipment
Iffy,
that you have
Resources.
mentioned.
It's like you're
How-
making excuses for this government.
How-
If the
No,
schools
I'm
must
not.
remain open, protect the schools.
Okay, are you
if you cannot protect school, close it down.
So when they
Which is
shut the
what some
school
of
down, what's
the
going to
state
happen?
governments have done at this point.
And eventually, I will not shut down the schools.
They've shut down some of the
For some
schools.
time.
For
So
some
how
time.
long are you going to shut it down?
don't
Until
know.
you are able to protect the people you want to
students.
send there.
Right. We have to
Homeschooling.
leave- All right. We have
Well,
to
if
leave
you
it
say
at this.
Homeschooling.
Can the parents afford it?
That's another thing. We have to leave the conversation here now because if I leave both of you, you continue arguing back and forth. If
Thanks
you're
for
leaving
having
it,
us.
that will do for one
It's
kind.
a pleasure.
Thank you for this conversation this morning. Thank you for coming on TVC Breakfast.